Hey, how you guys doing? This is William Cunningham, or Reggie, my middle name, of My Hope in Marriage. You can visit My Hope in Marriage online at myhopeinmarriage.com. And the purpose of My Hope in Marriage is for me to share over 35 years of marriage, 35 years of marriage and over 35 years of marriage learning. Because when I first got married, when I was married, I realized I didn't know how to be married. And I decided to start learning about it. So I'm sharing all of my experiences in my marriage and in marriages of others that I've observed with you, and the things that I learned with you. Now, today I like to talk about something that I think is critical, but it reveals another problem that we have in marriage, and I think it's important for you to realize this. And again, this is from a man's perspective. All right, so you really need to realize that this is from a man's perspective. I would love to hear a woman's perspective on this topic. Now, when I hear women talk about their husband, they're usually complaining. Well, let me put it this way. I hear a lot of women over the years complain about their husband not helping them with the dishes and housework in general. That's the big complaint. And what I hear from men, even to this day on my platforms, is that they lack intimacy from their wives. The most popular video and article on the website is the consequences of wives rejecting their husbands. Okay? So, men complain about their wives not being intimate with them. Women complain about their husbands not helping them. Now, of course, it's not all men and all women, okay? Please. There are lots of women, there are women who complain about their husbands not being intimate. And there are many husbands who reject their wives. But we're not talking about that. All right? That's another video. That's another lesson that I have. So the wives tend to complain that their husband don't help them with the dishes, help them with housework, help them with the kids, things like that. But I want to remind you an order that God placed on men and women. And let's first look at Genesis chapter 2, verse 15, where it says, "Then the Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to tend and keep it." So he had a job. He had a responsibility to tend and keep the garden. And in verse 18, Genesis chapter 2, verse 18, it says, "And the Lord God said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a helper comparable to him." So he has a job, but it's not good that he's alone. So God said he's going to make a helper that is comparable to him. So this is important. Right away you see the situation where the wife or the woman was designed to be a helper to the man. All right, so wives are designed, so I guess women in general are designed to be helpers of men. And if you put that in a marriage construct, then wives should be helpers to their husbands. Now, I know you might be saying, well, the ladies may be saying, well, shouldn't the husband help me? Well, you have to understand, you help each other. You see, the guy is already thinking about giving you the world. The man is already thinking about how he's going to provide you for you. When a guy gets a job, he's not just thinking about himself. He's thinking about how he's going to provide for his family. He wants to give you the world. He wants to give you the universe. So he's already there. He's not complaining that you don't help him fix stuff. He's not complaining that you don't help him fix the car or deal with a broken dishwasher. He's not complaining about that because in his mind, he's thinking that's his responsibility. But even still, there's nothing prohibiting a woman or wife to get involved with helping her husband paint or fix something or whatever. All right. But this is interesting that you see these things. The wife is complaining about the husband not helping her with housework, and he complains about intimacy. But we see here God designed for you, ladies, to be the helper to your husband. So you should start thinking about, not that you neglect, getting help with housework. Because if you think you need help with housework, talk about it. Maybe it is something that he can do or get more involved. Because remember, he's already thinking about making you happy. But if you nag him and belittle him and be condescending to him and complaining all the time, that's going to override his feelings to want to bless you. He's going to pull away from that complaining because that's just stress on his system. And we're going to naturally move away from stress because guess what? Guys, we have enough stress as it is to have it at home. Okay? So remember that, ladies. He's already wanting to help you. He's already wanting to provide for you. So think about how you can help him, which implies, guys, that you're doing something. You're not just laying around doing nothing. You're actively pursuing a goal or something. All right? And she has something to help you with. Right? Now, another thing I want to bring to your attention, because I said that the guys mostly complain about the wives not being intimate with them. This is in 1 Corinthians chapter 7. Let's look at verses 3 through 5. It says, "Let the husband render to his wife the affection due her, and likewise also the wife to her husband." Okay? The wife does not have authority over her own body, but the husband does. And likewise, the husband does not have authority over his own body, but the wife does. You belong to each other. You're one thing. You're one unit. You're one flesh. In verse 5, "Do not deprive one another except with consent for a time." Now remember, he was just talking about the due affection and who has authority over the body. And he says, do not deprive one another except with consent for a time, that you may give yourself to fasting and praying and come together again so that Satan does not tempt you because of your lack of self-control. So he's saying, look, don't deprive each other. Wives, don't deprive your husband of sex, of intimacy, because when you do, you're going against a design of God, I might say. All right? You're going against something that is natural to people, to guys. And because of lack of self-control, not everyone can just clam up and become celibate, just hit a couple buttons. I am now celibate. All right? It doesn't work that way in most cases. Okay? So you don't deprive him of the intimacy that he craves. He already wants that. He wants a wife that's going to be intimate with him. He wants a wife that's going to be by his side. That's what he wants. He's not thinking about washing dishes unless he can associate that with your happiness, your well-being. I remember I was talking to a young lady years ago. This is funny. I was talking to her, and she was complaining about her husband not helping her with, the housework and stuff like that. And I said to her, out of the blue, I like doing this. Well, did you put on the lingerie? I asked her. And she's like, huh? I said, you put on lingerie. I said, you've got the power. I said, if you put on lingerie and take care of him, if you know what I mean, the next day he'll be mopping the roof. He'll be on the top of the house with a bucket and mop to mop the roof. That's how much power, that's how much that means to him. See, ladies don't get that. You want your husband to do this and help you, but what are you doing for him? What are you doing to help him is what I mean. All right? Okay. So those are two things that we have where the wife complains about the husband not helping her with dishes or what have you. And he's complaining about a lack of intimacy, which is the typical case. That's what I typically hear and see from women and men. Women complain about their husbands not helping her with the dishes, helping them with the dishes and stuff like that. And the man mostly complains about a lack of intimacy. Not that it's exclusive, because there are lots of women that complain about a lack of intimacy. So, the thing here is, ladies, get a mindset where you're trying to help your husband. You're going to go to him, and then you can address, hey, I could really use some help with the dishes. And tell him what you want. You got to communicate. The most important thing in a relationship, any relationship, is communication. So if you think you need help, if you need help with housework and you're just getting stressed and bogged down, you got to communicate with him, because you don't know what he's thinking. He may have the mentality that women can just take care of that. They're just wired by God to do housework. I wasn't taught that way, so I don't think that. I wash dishes. I wash clothes. I clean the house all the time. All right. There are a lot of guys who do that. That's just what they learn. But there are a lot of guys who just never learned that. They were brought up thinking that the woman handles that. The men goes out and fight the world, bringing money, and the wife is at home. Of course, we're getting away from that dynamic where both the husband and wife work. But still, the wife and the husband have to take care of that house. And if you think, ladies, that you need help, talk about it with your husband. Don't complain at him, because he's going to avoid you if you complain all the time about him not helping you. All right? That's the key. He wants you to be happy. He already wants to provide for you. All right? But he's going to avoid stress. So if you're stressing him out about not helping, then guess what? He's going to avoid that. And you're going to unlikely get him to help you with the dishes. All right? Because to him, that's just another thing on his plate. Imagine a guy, he comes home from work, and imagine his wife addresses him or greets him sensually, relaxingly, where she helps him to calm down from traffic or what have you. That's a great thing. That's a great thing. He's already wired to do that for his wife. All right? He may need some specifics in what you want, which means you have to communicate. All right? Now, I want you, when you get an opportunity, to read Proverbs chapter 31, verses 10 through 31. Proverbs 31 from 10 to the end. Because it talks about the virtuous wife. She's taking care of business. She takes care of her household. Her husband is just trusts her, safely trusts her. She takes care of things. She does business. Her husband is just, pleased. That's a virtuous woman. She's not idle. She does the work. She's contributing. You're contributing to the household. He's contributing to the household. And together you're contributing as one. Okay? And I think that's important. So, and for women to help the husbands, guys, like I said, what are you doing? Are you just laying around? Are you just going to work to make money and come home to pay the bills? No. Where are you going? Do you have any aspirations? Do you have any goals? Do you have any dreams that you want to make come true? All right. So, ladies, stop thinking about your husband and how he doesn't help you with the dishes. Talk to him about getting a home service, or talk to him about, how he can help. Because like I said, he's already wired to make you happy. But he's not thinking about, I got to wash the dishes. Who does? That's a responsibility that needs to get done. All right? Communicate. Okay? So The main thing here is that we've gotten away from God's standard. The standard for the woman is to help the man, not man help the woman. He's already got a job, a responsibility. So the woman is, how can I help him? What can I do to make his life easier? And believe you me, ladies, when you come to your man like that, he's going to be a whole different person. He's going to treat you like precious gems. If he thinks that you are upset about washing the dishes, next month you're going to have a maid service. Or next month he's going to be washing it. You're going to hear some clanking in the kitchen, and he's going to be, or better yet, he might come beside you. I love those pictures of couples where the man is drying and a woman, they're washing and taking care of the dishes together. But anyway, I don't want to get into all that. The thing is, how can I help my husband? How can I help him unwind? How can I perhaps give him some insight, give him some suggestions for handling things, talk about things, especially have intimate conversations? Do that, and you'll do a lot better in getting him to be more involved in what you're doing. You have to be involved in what he's doing. You have to be his helper and fulfill God's design. You have to stop, if you are, depriving him of sex, depriving him of intimacy, because that is ungodly and that is outside of God's design. Every guy knows that the woman controls sex in a relationship, and it should not be. Because as we just said, the Apostle Paul said, look, your body doesn't belong to you, it belongs to your spouse. The wife's body belongs to her husband. The husband's body belongs to his wife. So you can't deprive each other like that, or you're asking for trouble. You're asking for trouble. A deficiency in intimacy may latch on to someone else or something else to fulfill that intimacy, to fulfill what he desires from his wife. And likewise, the wife desires from her husband. Don't neglect your husband, your wives, guys. All right, okay, I didn't want to get too much in that, but just wanted to bring that to your attention. Look, why stop complaining about your husband not washing the dishes and things like that. Talk to him about what you want. Or just tell him, I'd like to have some help washing the dishes. Don't complain about it and accuse him about it. Just tell him what you want. And you work together to solve that issue. Don't withhold sex from each other. All right. And usually, from the man's perspective, it's the woman that's withholding from him, because that's what guys, you go online, men mostly complain about that. Stop doing that. All right. Work it out. Talk. Work it out. All right. Well, this is William Cunningham of My Hope in Marriage saying, I want you to have a fulfilled marriage. So, watch the videos. You can like the video. You can go to the website at www.myhopeinmarriage.com. And, there's a plethora of articles there that you can check out. And you can leave your comments, of course, on this video or on those articles. And I would especially love to hear from the ladies. All right. I want to hear your perspective, because My Hope in Marriage is about a male's perspective. All right. When I first started, I tried to do, but when I said, what, I don't have the woman's perspective. So I don't want ladies to think that I'm picking on them and blaming them for everything, because I'm not. It's a two-way street. Some people, even women, have brought that out. It's a two-way street. But how do you approach that? All right. Okay. So be blessed. And until next time, have a fulfilled and blessed marriage.